Oh, I sat down with no time to spare. I was running around getting stuff together.
Wow.
What's going on, everybody? That's just typical Conway, procrastinate until the last second to do stuff. What's going on?
I do the same fucking thing.
Dom, how was your weekend, my guy?
Fantastic weekend. One of the best in recent memory.
What did
Good
you do?
stuff.
What did you do for your weekend?
Let's see. Friday night, watched the Pats preseason first half with my old man.
That wasn't a bad
Saturday,
game.
we hit the Salem Willows. Not a bad game. It was fun. The first half was fun.
Yeah.
Saturday, hit the Salem Willows with the family. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday, I hung out with Conway and his people, and we hit Bit Bar, and we played a little bit of Blitz.
You're getting ahead of that. We did. Okay. Before we get to Bit Bar, before we get to Sunday, my Saturday was good. I was busy though. We had a party at the house. We had a bunch of friends over. The in-laws had their friends over. And played a poker game. I placed 4th out of 6 because
I'm
not good at poker. Yeah, I'm not good at poker.
Were you guys playing Hold'em?
Yeah, Texas. It was only $5 buy-in, so it wasn't too bad. But then we played some left, right, center.
Very frustrating.
So that was good.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a.
But Hold'em can get very frustrating, especially in house games when people play very, very loose and silly.
Oh yeah.
Shit can get real frustrated. Real frustrated real quick.
When I was in my early 20s, there's like there was a group of 4 of us, and my buddy had a house.
Same thing.
My buddy had a house in down on the opposite side of the town I lived in, and I just remember one night he was drinking. We were all drinking, and he was just getting mad because his best friend and my best friend, same person, but he just like he's smart, so he just kind of like waits you out because he knows we're both impatient. So, but he ended up getting mad and putting a hole in his wall. It was like
it'll happen.
It happens.
It never happened with me and my buddies, but if there was a few games where it came close.
But yes, on Sunday, I didn't say this to you on Sunday. So we go to Salem, and we park and we go right to Howling Wolf. Howling Wolf is a great restaurant in Salem. If you don't know, check it out. It's great Mexican food. So we walk in, and the hostess stands right there, and I tell her we're waiting for 6. I think I turned to my right for some reason, and then I'm like, in my head I'm like, I'm gonna message Dom, let him know we're here, so when he gets here he'll just come in. And I turn around, or Teresa might have said my name. I turn around and you're just there. It's just like
I saw you guys.
Never mind.
Like, we were just so far away where I couldn't yell your name, but I saw you walking in, and I came in right behind you, and you were already talking to the hostess. Like, God, wait.
But it was fun. We hung out. Yep. And then, yes, we went to Bit Bar. And
by the way, a new Bit Bar for anyone, I don't know, I haven't been in Salem about a year. Bit Bar is no longer in the old jail in Small and Tiny. It is the old Salem Beer Works. So it is fucking huge now. Busted wide open. There are games everywhere.
Yeah.
And it is a much better location than where it was about a year ago. So
yeah,
that was cool to see. So go ahead.
It was my first time being in there, so it was a great first time. And We did. We played 2 games of Blitz.
Yeah,
It was the Patriots versus the Lions. I had the Lions. Dom had the Patriots. I
things were going really well until I decided to pull a fucking safety, and then the wheels came off, and in true Bledsoe fucking fashion, that's all it took. That's
I
all it
will
fucking
say that
took.
I was dumbfounded for about 30 seconds because I'm like trying to make sure. I think I wasn't blitzing that because you were so close to the end zone. I just was like, oh, let me play zone and see if I can keep up here for a play. And then the screen just goes safety, and I'm
It
like,
just ran
Dom, did you
right.
just walk back into the safety? And I just look over, your head's just down,
I blame
down
that
on
on.
the.
I blame that on night shift Santilles. That's what we're gonna blame that on. Not my blitz skills, because I would never pull that sober.
Oh my god! And then we played some different games. We ate some
Yeah,
food. Their
little
poutine was
pinball.
good.
That
Little
what was that?
pinball.
Ninja Turtle was the
Yep,
Ninja
Ninja
Turtle
Turtles.
pinball that it actually has a hack, which was
Yeah.
fun. I've
So
never seen that on a
I
pinball machine in
yeah,
my
me
life.
neither.
That blew my
The
skull. But go ahead,
the guy at the hostess stand.
tipped
I
us
was like,
off.
yeah, I was like, I asked him. I was like, hey, what's your favorite game here? And he's like, oh, it's Initial D, which is a racing anime. It's a street racing anime, and they have like a car game. But that was full the whole time we were there. But he's like, oh, there's a cool thing with the Ninja Turtles pinball. If you uh, put a credit in, hold the flaps,
The
a
flip, yeah,
menu will
hold the
come up.
flippers down.
Yeah, don't hit start, but if you hold the flippers
Don't hit the
down,
stop button. Very
you can
important.
change
Put
the
the credits
mode.
in. Yep.
I put and you can pick what mode. He suggested, I think it was called Final Battle mode or Final
He
Boss
did.
mode or
Yeah.
something like that. It's the final stage of the game. You're facing Shredder, and it's just unloading
Rapid.
pinballs on you. And when I decided to play that, I was probably they have a mixed drink there called Puka. It's like it's got like different like berry liquors in it and whatever. I was about 5 of those in. I couldn't. I was staring at the flippers. If I saw something silver, I was just hitting it. I had no clue what was going on above me. Anything above the flippers, didn't see it.
A lot of lights flashing, a lot of
I
balls
was
just
just like,
flying everywhere.
yep, it was
Fucking awesome.
crazy. But we had a
Good
good
times.
time. We got out
Yeah.
way late. I will say we
I was
had
shocked when
not
I got home
planned.
and I was like, yeah, fucking
We were
late.
not planning on being there that late. Some of the people who were with me, because like you said, you met us there,
Yeah.
lived in New Bedford, so it was like an hour drive from where I
Oh,
am.
jeez.
So it's just like it was just like we did not plan on being there that late.
Yeah, so
You know
I'm
what I mean?
sorry about
So
that. I didn't know
no,
you guys had that kind of a trip. Yeah, I
dude,
was just
it wasn't your fault. We were having a blasty blast.
we were having the
Um,
last.
but now the reason we're here, the
Mm-hmm.
G1, Dom's first G1, it is all wrapped up. It is
Put a
all
bow
wrapped
on
up.
it.
Dom, before we talk about the results, what do you think of your first G1? You made it to
Awesome.
the end.
Awesome, man. Like I said, the only difficult thing is obviously trying to just keep up with the live time, because I love watching shit live time. Other than that, it was awesome, man. Like the talent that was in this tournament this year, and the matches and the stories told, and the way everything just fell into place, and how they figure this shit out and actually make it work from day one to day, what was it, 20.
20, yeah.
Man, it's a seriously impressive, because they do it in such a short amount of time. Like they're running 4 shows a week, maybe,
Yeah,
right? 2
3 or
on the
4, yeah.
weekends, and it's usually Saturday, Sunday, and then like a
And
Tuesday,
then like
Wednesday, whatever.
2, yeah.
And knock on wood, everyone stayed healthy, and it was awesome, man. And it opened my eyes to a lot. So
Yeah, there was
I
a lot of
loved
new
it.
faces for you too, right? A
Yep.
lot of new faces. Well, the other thing too, like especially what you said about the injury bug, because it's plagued AEW recently.
Right.
It sometimes plagues WWE, and like the thing is with the G1, I don't know if it's because like other regions of the world have different ways to do medicine that are go along with the norms that universally are accepted. But like you would think in a month-long tournament where you're wrestling, like we said, 3 or 4 times a week. Like, don't get me wrong, the WWE schedule is a lot more grueling. Maybe
It is.
not so much now, but still, it's a grueling schedule. And like you saw
I agree.
going into the semifinals with Osprey and Naido, like Naido's knees are taped up.
I was gonna say I
Os-
saw what you were saying about his knees
Os-
as the tournament went on.
Osprey's got his whole like neck and upper shoulders taped up, but the good thing is like you can't really tell until the tape starts to peel off because it's a skin tone colored tape. So
Right.
like if it's on camera, you're not just seeing it, and like I said, until it's falling off or getting ripped off, you don't really notice it.
Notice it's
So
there, yeah.
yeah, so but it like I said, I'm glad you had fun. Um,
Oh yeah. Man. I actually
so
was like excited to see how this turned out. The last 2 days of how everything, like from the semifinals to the finals, like I watched it live, and I was like, at least the finals I watched live. And I
yeah,
was like, I
I
gotta see
watched
how
the
this
finals
shit
live
turns
too.
out. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to come and go on Twitter by accident. I'm gonna fucking see it and be pissed, you know. And it's like ruin a month of just watching this thing.
See,
So,
for me, when it came to the finals, because I was up early enough. Well, the finals,
because it
the
wasn't bad. You could
final
have got up at
bell.
7 and
I was
still
gonna say
watched
the
it. I
final
think.
bell for the finals was around
Yeah.
like 8:10 maybe somewhere around
You
there,
weren't
because I
you
knew
weren't
where
waking
I
up
was
3
at.
hours before shift
Right.
to watch it.
So like but the thing was like I was like, "Oh fuck, I was when I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to watch it live or not. I was like, knowing my luck, I'll turn it as I turn it on and open it up, it's going to be Okada or Will Osprey pinning the other one, and I'm going to spoil it for
That's what
myself.
I was.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
like
I was
that's
worried
my
about
luck.
that too. I got up a little earlier than I should have just to make sure that didn't happen. Right.
So, but with that said, let's get into it. Because we got a lot to cover on tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I fit 3 different things into our title bar. Into the title of the episode, I fit 3 different things.
Gives me a request this time. Love it.
But we're gonna start with um, night 18. This was
Mm-hmm.
the only night throughout the whole G1 that was nothing but G1 matches. This was the
Yes,
first and only. Well, yeah. Well, it was the first and only time
I
they
think it
did it,
was.
and there
Yeah.
was so much going into it. So much going into it, especially for D Block. Uh, 2 nights was it 2 nights before? Yeah, on the 13th, Will Ospreay defeated Yoshihashi. That got him to 6, so he was in a good spot. Yoshihashi defeated Dave Finley, which like is a big bust for Dave Finley because all he was a winning in.
He was rolling.
Yeah, he was a winning in situation, and Yoshihashi snuck that one out. So
Yeah,
going
that's
into
right.
it, D Block was all in. Will Ospreay defeated Juice Robinson, and that was a great. I thought that was going to main event, but that was a great way to start off the night. That was a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. That match was hot from the jump.
I don't even know if I got it.
We go into probably the second. I'll say the second biggest surprise from night 18 was El Phantasmo beating Shingo Takagi.
Okay.
I I was very surprised that that happened. I think, and we'll get into it later, but I think El Phantasmo had one of the best G1s this year.
Who did? El
El
Phantasmo?
Phantasmo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed he
Like
was
I was
heavyweight
saying to
material.
like I was saying to you before, yeah. He had a really good showing.
Yeah.
And he was doing it all, like not just in the ring. He was killing me on commentary. Like everything
Oh
he
yeah.
did was just like funny, like good matches, funny on the mic, funny out of the ring. Like everything he fucking did was just awesome. So
I
I've
saw
become a huge El Phantasmo fan
I saw a
because of this
clip.
tournament.
I saw a clip. It was I forget who was yelling at Kevin Kelly. It was either Lance Archer or Jonah, or I think it was Jonah. And
Okay.
El Phantasmo's just sitting there in a flannel eating pizza next to him at the commentary station. I'm just laughing so
Kevin Kelly
hard.
takes so much shit throughout the tournament.
I love Kevin Kelly. He's
So
always
good.
been one of my favorite commentators.
He's awesome.
He
And he doesn't talk over shit. He knows when to like tell stories and at the right time. The worst thing in commentary right nowadays is just people just yapping and yapping and
yeah,
yapping and shit's going on. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
it's
Shut
a
up. Let shit play out. Let it breathe, and then
yeah.
talk. Or give me something about the action that's happening.
He's
Kevin
got a
Kelly's so good at that.
he's got a quiet excitement about him.
Yep.
Like his voice will stay the same and then it will go up, but he's not like yelling or screaming in
Yeah.
excitement. He just like
It's not like a Joey
he's
style. It's
so
not like a
good.
Joey Styles, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think he's so good, and
He
I'm so
is.
glad New Japan has him.
Me too.
Um,
It's huge.
Evil defeated Hiroki Goto, which I was like, okay, that's fine. Tetsuya Naito
This
foiled
was
my
nuts.
hopes and Zack Sabre Jr.'s hopes and defeated him in 1 minute and 58 seconds. Dom, you and I both said this could be a draw.
Oh wow. It was the complete opposite. So they kind of let us know, speaking of commentary, like they kind of planted the seeds that, hey, like I guess they did start off quick, but even they were like, yo, this might be the one where they were pretty blatant about saying this is what's gonna happen, and it actually happened.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you caught that, you know what I mean? They're like, this is one that could happen quick. Like, has Naito done that before to Saber? Was that part of the story in this?
I couldn't remember, to be honest with you.
I think, or maybe he's just, they said he's had quick important wins throughout like the tournament year after year. Maybe
Yeah,
they were really late.
he
They were laying in thick on like this is his thing. Where
yeah,
he comes up.
Naido. The one thing I will say about Naido when it comes to G1 is that when it comes to the later stages, he's very smart. He's a good fourth quarter quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the game will play out the first 3 quarters, but once you get to that back half,
Mm-hmm.
he becomes very meticulous, very calm, cool, collected, and knows how to outlast you. You
Right.
know what I mean? And yeah, so he has had a past of these quick
Doing
matches
something like this.
towards the end because he knows he'll cement his spot in the next round, and that's where he needs his body.
So this is where Sable lost his fucking shit and
Yeah.
threw like a 5 minute temper team, maybe even longer.
The
Like
best part
he just started destroying everything.
Oh yeah. The best part was
I think I
Naido.
texted you.
You did. The best part was like Naido on the outside with his like hand up pointing to the guardrail, like to show he was doing the young lion thing to like show the wrestler where to go to leave. And he's just doing this while Zack Sabre Jr. is losing his mind. He's just
I,
watching.
I don't think I've ever seen a fucking hissy fit like that in my life. Like, if you can hunt down what Zack Sabre did after this match, it is fucking outrageous. Almost to the point you're like, okay, it's too much. Like, enough.
Oh yeah.
Let's end it. And I got to that point, I think twice throughout his tirade, where I was like, okay, kid, like, wind it down, shut off. And then he does, just as I'm starting to think that, he does something. I'm like, well, okay, well, now I'm fucking back. He did it like twice within a fucking
I will
7
say
or
I
8 minutes
love
span.
that.
It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
I will say I love that if you go watch the backstage press conference, he
Yeah.
like walks into it just covered in chairs. Like he's got like 2 chairs around his head,
Are
3
you
around his
serious?
arm. Yeah, it's brilliant.
That's
It's
fucking
brilliant. He's
unbelievable.
just
He's ripping down the barricade where the fans are. Like, it was
yeah,
fucking
he's
wild.
just
It was wild.
absolutely
That
wild.
might have been my highlight. That actually might have been my highlight of the fucking climax.
No. See, that was a top tier backstage, but we're gonna get to it in a second. I'll tell you what the best backstage was. Uh,
Okay.
Tomohiro Ishii defeated Sonata. That was meaningless. And then the upset of the blocks, in my opinion, the upset of the tournament, and the deciding match for the B block, Tama Tonga defeats Jay White. I watched this match 2 or 3 times, and I was stunned because I did not think that New Japan was gonna pull the trigger on Tama Tonga. I am so happy that they did, but I was not expecting them to pull the trigger on him. And I thought they were gonna do something where he gets screwed out of it and then gets retaliation somewhere down the line. But no, they gave Tama Tonga that win, and on one of the biggest stages in New Japan, the final day of the G1 blocks, and he wins the D block. I don't know if anyone had that. I had said he
I,
had a shot
I think
at placing
yeah,
second.
he was our
He
wild
might have been
card
a
if there was
sleeper,
anyone
but
sneaking.
I
If
thought
we
he would
had
get
someone,
second at least.
yeah,
Yeah, if someone was gonna beat Jay White, I think we did say we wanted it to be
it
Tama.
would have been Tama because I think he was our close second, but we didn't think it was going to happen.
Right.
And man, he is fucking good. Like, yikes, this kid, the way I hate saying this shit, but like, he's quick. Like the way he moves. How old is like he? And he's not like a kid, right?
No,
He's been
he's
around
not.
for a
No,
while. Like
he's
his
been
legs,
no, he's
dude,
not a
are fucking. I can't explain it, man. The way he runs the ropes and the way he hits those fucking stinger splashes, whatever he calls them, like
he's 39.
he's 39
Yeah. October 15th, 1982.
and he moves like that. That's
Dude,
fucking
he's
crazy.
smooth. He's smooth.
I was
The,
not
I,
expecting you to say he's 39.
he
That blows my fucking mind.
he moves around the ring sometimes, especially when he's sliding on the mat like
Yeah,
he's swimming through water.
it's
Um
it's insane. Like this certain guy, like I'm not comparing him, but like you watch Mooter and you're like, this dude just moves different. Like he just looks different the way he wrestles. And Tom is like one of the only other guys that I've seen really like, whoa, like what's up with this kid? How does he do that? I can't believe he's 39. Was this the match where they had the girl ringside with Jay White when his buddy had him? Like they were doing some crazy shit on the outside. Was that this match? Or was that another one? Jay White.
I think you're thinking of the Tai Chi match.
Was that a Tai Chi match? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. Go
because
ahead.
Kanemaru returned for Tai
All
Chi
right.
and sided with Tai Chi.
Okay,
And
so
I
that
mean,
wasn't
he
it.
hadn't been. It wasn't like a big like oh my god return. It was just really he hadn't been seen since the best of the Super Juniors.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it went Super Juniors into G1.
That's right. Yep. Okay.
See, I know what you said about the Zack Sabre Jr. backstage, but the Jay White backstage was
Yeah, you were
infinitely
saying
better.
that.
And I've seen that make its rounds on TikTok and Twitter with
Okay.
people who don't watch wrestling because it's just like
That good.
30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds of Jay White just screaming fuck. Because all he had to do was win. That's all he had to do. Win and get in.
So you do. Right.
And he slipped up. He dropped the ball. He got too cocky. He got too Jay White and just dropped the ball. And it was, again, I think it was one of the biggest upsets, if not the biggest in the tournament. Because if you look at everybody's bracket, I'm telling you, I think you got 5% or less that were picking Tama Tonga to come out this block.
Yeah. So,
Like,
but that kind of leads into, I mean, I guess we'll get there, but it also leads into what Okada did in the stretch. Like he had a great G1, but the last two matches are just fucking nuts. Like,
what, for Okada?
Yeah. Right? Like
So
they had me thinking like, all right, he's got his one loss. Like I can't see him losing to Archer. You know what I mean? You're like 95% sure he's not going to lose to him.
And he doesn't.
But they made you. There was a couple times where they had me biting where I knew you shouldn't be biting on it, right? And you're like, okay, it's not going to happen. And they still bring it that close where you're like, oh, they might do it here. Like that's how good that match was, I thought.
Yeah. So Jonah defeated Bad Luck Fale, and Okada wraps up the night by defeating Lance Archer, securing the A block. So we have Okada coming out of the A block, Tama Tonga coming out of the B block, Tetsuya Naito coming out of the C block, and Will Ospreay coming out of the D block. Now, before we get to the semifinals, I want to talk about Lance Archer real quick
Sure.
because
It's your boy.
I think he had an impressive G1. Japan loves that man to death.
Good.
He's been there for he's probably done too many tours. He's been there so long. They absolutely love him, but my concern, and I know I'm going to be right, is that when he comes back to AEW television, they're going to talk about it and nothing's going to come of it.
Right back
And I'm
to
like,
Bruce.
you got to do something with this guy.
He'll
Every
be
company
right
he's
back
ever
to.
been in, like, how are you not doing something with this guy? Like, he is a force.
And he has a personality. He was doing some commentary throughout the tournament too.
Right.
So
Definitely.
it's not like the guy can't. It's not like he needs a mouthpiece either. Like, not that the big guy should talk, but yeah, there's a personality behind that guy too, and
Right.
the fact that he can
So
hang with Okada the way he did, and make me believe that he had a shot at winning this.
I'll be waving my everybody dies flag till he retires.
Love it.
So moving on to the semifinals.
Mm-hmm. Night 19, correct?
Yes.
So, okay.
Kazuchika Okada defeated Tama Tonga in 19 minutes and 8 seconds. And then Will Osprey defeated Tetsuya Naito in 20 minutes and 23 seconds. Now, you just said you thought Okada had the best G1 run. Are you saying the end stretch?
I'm saying his end stretch was awesome. He, as a run too, like it might be him, but these last few matches were just fucking banana land.
Because I thought, like, and I can't claim biasy because I love Okada so much.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not Okada's the
Osprey,
greatest.
Okay. I think Will Osprey had the better G1 semifinals and finals. Yes, Okada won. Yes, Okada won. But I think I hate the loss counts more than the win kind of deal, especially in sports. But I feel like the semifinals and the finals for Will Osprey did more than the semifinals and the finals for Okada.
Yeah, but that's also because he's Okada too. I think, like,
right.
You know what I mean? So, like, everyone know, like, you know who Will Osprey is, but this was kind of like, would you call? I don't want to call it his coming out party, but
for Osprey,
I mean, it's kind of in a way.
So that I think it's tough because, like, okay, so I got two rants here. Before we get to those, the finals are decided. It's Kazuchika Okada versus Will Osprey, and they go 33-53 with Okada coming out and winning his fourth G1 Climax. That is his fourth overall, and that puts him one behind the lead, and hold on.
So you said he has 4. The most won by someone is 5.
Masaharu Chono has 5. Kazuchika Okada has 4. Now, that's just G1s, because Antonio Inoki having won 10 IWGP leagues, MSG leagues, whatever, before they were called the G1 Climax, does not count. I'm sorry. Antonio Inoki, I don't want to get into him right now, but the G1 Climax record is 5, and Okada's at 4. Tanahashi's at 3. So, but Okada, I wouldn't be surprised if Okada ties or breaks Chono's record.
Okay.
But here's the thing, and somebody on TikTok said this the same day, if not the day after Okada wins the G1. He said, you can't get mad at WWE when New Japan pulls the same shit. Now,
saying, "Oh, okay, running with Okada."
not just running with Okada, but having the same circulation of champions at the top, and um, the lack of new stars,
Gotcha.
and same storylines, and New Japan doesn't really have storylines. Their
They
storylines are
don't.
different than
Yeah.
WWE's, but whatever. And I replied to him. I don't usually reply to people on TikTok because I'm not good at arguing, and
Yeah.
two, I'm more than likely not going to respond to you. I responded by saying, I fully admit that New Japan and WWE are fairly similar. The difference being is that New Japan does their matches better, I think, more consistently. The talent, I believe, is overall better. And I think that you the surprises with New Japan are more um they're more frequent, I guess is the word, than they are in WWE. So like if you said Okada was the New Japan John Cena, I would buy that. I would wear the t-shirt. I believe it 100% because of all the accolades Okada has, the title reigns, the 4 G1s. But if you look at the history of New Japan, that's what they've had. They've had their top 6 or 7 people that have always been in the mix. While they've still had those other people that were um pulling up the mid card and whatnot. Like in the 90s, you had Chono, Fujinami, Muda, Choshu, Sasaki, Hashimoto, Nakanishi, Nagata, Suzuki. Like, and then you get to the 2000s, and then you have Tanahashi, Goto, Makabe, Kojima, Nakamura. You have Naido and Yujiro come around. Like, so it's not like they've been dominated every time. Like, there's always been one person who dominates it, like Okada, and then it was Tanahashi, and you can argue Tanahashi and Nakamura kind of traded off, but it was more Tanahashi than it was Nakamura, and like before that, it was like the the late 90s to early 2000, like mid to 2000s was kind of rough patch for New Japan, but in the 90s you had like Muda and Chono, and and so it's like, yes, Okada is cementing his legacy as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, IWGP New Japan wrestlers of all time, and historians will point to Chono and Choshu and Inoki and Baba as being better, but I think Okada has done more for you globally than arguably anybody in the past. I would argue Naito to some degree, Nakamura, and Balor. And I don't think Balor's name gets brought up enough because his accolades on the heavyweight side aren't there. And Kenny's another one. Kenny. I think
For
Kenny's.
me,
Sorry, go ahead.
for me, he's the one that brought my. And I'm not a huge Kenny guy. Like I respect the shit out of him, and his Japan stuff great. But for him, he's the guy. He's the guy that brought me back to New Japan and everything that happened with Okada. But then again, it's probably because he was in there with Okada. Looking back on it, like it's a 50-50, you know. But for the American fan, yeah, I mean, even AJ, but AJ didn't.
AJ was there
He
for a
didn't
cup
do
of
that.
coffee.
Like right, you
He
know.
he was in there, joined Bullet Club, won the IWGP title, dropped it, and then went to Royal Rumble. Like
Kenny's
he
the
wasn't.
first non-New Japan guy to make me know about New Japan. Like I know I said it before, obviously when I was a kid, it was like, yeah, Muda, Laga, like they came over here, but they were New Japan guys, so I knew who these guys were. Kenny was the first guy who come from somewhere else, go there and go, oh, like this shit's going on, and this kid's really good. Now he's coming over to the States, and now stuff's starting to happen. So it is, for me, kind of Kenny Omega is the biggest factor between us or me or fans like me getting New Japan like in front of our eyeballs.
Right.
And
so like
I was just saying one more thing about Okada, because I cut out a little bit while you were talking about. You were saying how he's on a great stretch right now, and he really is. But you were saying something about like he's their John Cena. He's doing this all right now without the title, which is incredible. Like Jay White is the champ, and Okada just came off the G1, and I almost kind of completely forgot that like Jay White was champion for a second. You know, like I'm thinking, wow, like Okada still is there, even with Jay White as a champ, Osprey doing what he's doing, everyone doing their shit. Okada without the title is the fucking man to beat. WWE can't do that. I haven't seen them do that in the longest time, where the title didn't exist on the guy that was the guy.
Right. So
while
like
making someone else with that title. I really
right.
can't remember them doing that. I'm sure it's happened recently too, that it slipped my mind, but not like this.
But that's the thing, is like, that's where I think New Japan does better than WWE, because of his history and his accolades. Okada doesn't need the title. He
No.
has the name. So like,
and I guess you're right, like Cena did do that, but not, I don't ever remember, I guess the US title, like when he came back into his US title run, but I don't ever remember Cena being the guy to beat without being the guy to beat. Like I never remember.
The thing though is like, when it comes to Cena, he could do that.
He could. No, and that's not a knock on Cena. I fucking love him. Yeah. Right.
WWE
won't book him like that.
It's not that they won't book him. They won't book anybody like that.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like you can make the case for maybe Seth Rollins right now.
Yeah.
And like, that's fine, but I don't think.
But he was also never their like world champ to beat. Like he was, you know what I mean? Like Okada's been that guy. Like this would be like Roman coming off this title run and still somehow holding on to that tribal chief moniker and like, oh shit, there's your guy. Like we got to beat this guy, and him not having any gold around him. If Roman can pull that off, that would be impressive. You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to, or if he's even going to stick around after. Who knows? So but that's the closest thing I can think of now.
Right, and like the other thing too is like, Okada is the final boss, and he gets beat. He's been beat. So like, the thing is though, here's where it turns from my pro Okada rant, and like I think I just said all that to say, like, I said all that Okada stuff to say, like, he's earned 4 G1s. He's earned 5 G1s. This, like, I don't think he gets. I think people look at the accolades and go, again, really, again, you know what I mean, and don't understand. And this isn't everybody, but like, I don't think they understand that, like, without Okada, Kenny's not the best bout machine. Without Okada, Naido isn't where he is. Without Okada, Ibushi isn't where he is right now. Without Okada, Tanahashi's still one in a generation. He's still one of the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champions of all time. But his reign and his early 2010s runs don't mean the same, because he doesn't have the rival that Okada did, or that Okada gave him. Sorry. And the other thing too, and this is another similarity to John Cena. When John Cena came in, he had that standoff with Kurt Angle, and then ruthless aggression, slap, fight, whatever. And then he kind of petered out, and then he did the rapping thing, and then it was off to the start.
I'd say it took him about 3 years to get there, I think,
right
from now.
Yeah. So, and I remember after I think his first he FU'd Big Show
Yeah,
at WrestleMania 20, won the U.S.
love that.
title,
Yep, he did.
and then I think he got his first belt off JBL.
The first world title. I think I was
I don't
out at the
remember,
time. I
but
think you're right though.
I
That
think
makes
it
sense.
was.
I think we were
What
still
I'm
watching Manias, but I wasn't watching like
right.
consistently.
What I'm trying to say is that when Cena got the title, the first world title, I don't think he had the fans he did. There was a lot of speculation still out about him, but I don't
Oh yeah,
remember the time. What I
Jerry
do
was out.
know is that
He was like 05.
Okada, the New Japan shared yesterday or the day before, Okada versus Naido while they were both young lions still. This is black hair Okada. This is looks a lot younger, a lot different, and Naido was so over from the jump. Naido had so many fans behind him from the jump,
Like what year
and
are we talking here?
I couldn't
Like
tell you.
early 2000s.
Yeah, somewhere
Ballpark.
around there.
Okay, all right.
Um, then Naito continues that fan appreciation, goes on to form Team No Limit with Yujiro Takahashi. They win one or two IWGP Junior Tag titles, go on to the heavyweight division, win some tag titles there, have matches with Team 3D, like in the Motor City Machine Guns,
Oh wow.
and then they split, and then Naito joins Los Ingonables and becomes a megastar.
Well, I
While
think that's good.
while Okada is a relative unknown that people are like, he might be gone in a little bit, or he's gonna be here. Um, he's gonna be here, and we might like him. Who knows? Then gets sent to TNA, becomes Kato from the Green Hornet because they did a Green Hornet gimmick and he was
I think you
Kato.
said this before. I think you said this before. Wow, that's wild. Yep.
Gets brought back to New Japan, takes out Yoshihashi in his first Wrestle Kingdom. And then after Tanahashi retains the IWGP World Title, Okada challenges him after the main event of Wrestle Kingdom for Sakura Genesis, or New Beginnings, and beats the 1 in 100, the man who carried New Japan out of the Dark Ages. Kazuchika Okada defeats him. And then New Japan gets ripped to shreds publicly in the media. And Okada goes, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. Okada goes on, real quick, Okada goes on to become a 5-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion with a reign of 720 days. That's just one reign. His second longest reign was 391 days. Okay? He goes on to win 4 G1 climaxes, 2 New Japan Cups. In 2017, had the best bout by New Japan standards. He's been a multiple-time Japanese wrestling MVP 4 times. Has had 4 matches of the year. He's been ranked number 1 in the world by PWI. He's had 2 matches of the year and 1 feud of the year. He's won about 8 Best Bout awards from Tokyo Sports, along with 4 MVP awards. So, like, this man, as much as everyone moans and groans about him winning his 4th G1, this man has made stars, has made New Japan, and continues to do so. So, don't sit there and tell me that he doesn't deserve this or that New Japan was made the wrong choice. Because time and time again, he proves you wrong and shuts people up. Now, Let me take a breath. Let me take a sip of water, and then let me do what I always do and contradict myself and call myself a hypocrite.
You know, like, well, you can take a sip of water because I know why. Because you, like me, you're an actual Osprey fan. If this was anyone else, you would. There's no other reason to think any other way than what you just said. Because that's how I justified it. This is their guy, and he is there. Like he's not going anywhere. He hasn't left. He is their guy, and he is becoming more and more dominant with every win like this. And as much as it sucked to watch Osprey lose this match, it was like, okay, two things happened here. Okada is now leveled up even fucking more, which was I thought was impossible. And I want to see Osprey win. Now I want to see how this kid bounces back. Like now I'm already excited for Wrestle Kingdom and next year's G1. Like where is he going to go from here? Because it's not a crossroads, but this is a big moment for Osprey. This is a big time frame for him right now. Like
So
yeah, he can't. It's a tough loss, but I don't want to say it's going to make or break him like the next few months, but it could definitely make him. It probably won't break him, but he could. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. New Japan, if they've done one thing right with Will Ospreay, is, and I hate saying this, it's not pulling the trigger too early.
Yeah, not giving it to someone that
or
could take
on
off
the
on
right
him.
time.
Right.
But here's the thing, though.
They got to be a little gun shy with everything that's gone on in the last few years.
Okay, so
especially him dabbling. I mean, we don't know. I don't know anything about it, but
it
had to be a little bit of
they
that.
have been trigger shy because people, like you said, left. Finn Balor built and made the Bullet Club. He was, in my opinion, on his way to become an IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and then got
100%.
WWE money and left.
They even lost their own. They lost Shinsuke Nakamura. That must have blew their fucking skulls when that happened. I'm sorry, AJ Styles.
They lost, but yeah, no, they did lost Nakamura. But the
like
thing
when you
with
lose one of your own like that, like a cornerstone.
But that's the thing though, is that the reason I don't always bring up the Nakamura one is because he had done so much at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was that situation of, what else can I do? You know what I mean? He won almost everything. So what more can Nakamura do? Do another feud with Tanahashi? Sorry, I'm gonna pass on that. You know what I mean? So like, and he didn't know what Okada was gonna become, so he wasn't. It's not like he left during prime Okada. You know what I mean? It was kind of like Nakamura leaves, Okada comes in. Same with Naido. You know what I mean? He didn't know. He knew what Naido kind of was, but he didn't know what he would become. So it's not like, oh, I can have good feuds with these people. It was kind of just like, all right, I've done all I can do. I'm gonna go somewhere else. But like
you said, Balor, AJ Styles, Nakamura. Holy shit! Like
Balor,
those three go there, and they lock in.
And then you have Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows go. You have there was speculation Ibushi was gonna go there because of the Cruiserweight Classic. They pulled Kenta, they pulled Kushida, they pulled, like, it felt like it felt like to me for like 3 or 4 years after Wrestle Kingdom, there was always, okay, what's going to happen at New Year's Dash the next day, because who's going to leave New Japan for WWE? You know what I mean? Like there was always that, like, okay, well, all right, who's leaving this time? It was like a good 3 or 4 years where somebody was leaving. So like, I understand New Japan's hesitation. But here's the thing about Will Ospreay, and why this year will always be remembered as Will Ospreay's year. But when he does win the G1, because I said to you he's winning the G1 by 2020, he's winning at least one G1 by 2026. I said that to you. Here's the thing though. Ospreay has said multiple times he's never going to WWE. He doesn't want any part of it. And he said New Japan's his home. He got made from New Japan. Between the junior heavyweight stuff and the heavyweight stuff,
100%.
he's a big name because of New Japan. Now, I don't like to speculate this stuff because nobody knows what's going through Gato's head. Nobody knows the conversations him and Will Ospreay are having. Will Ospreay dropped the Rev Pro title on Sunday. And it felt like, if you watch the aftermatch stuff and you listen to the promo, you see his tweets, it feels like Gato wanted to give him this G1, but he's committed to the UK, and for some reason, Gato didn't want to pull the trigger. Because I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to look for the tweet and I don't remember fully what he said, but it was something to the effect of, this is Will Ospreay. He said, I haven't given my heart fully to Japan, but now I can. Or something like that. So that tells me that New Japan's, to me that tells me there was a conversation where it was, and I'm making this up, where it was, well, why am I not winning the G1? Well, you have commitments in Britain, and we don't want to give it to a gaijin, and then the gaijin leaves for making his own company or leaves to go overseas again like Kenny Omega did. Because it wasn't long after winning the G1 that Kenny Omega left to go to AEW and form AEW. So if there was some saying it without saying it, implying all that stuff, where if Gato went, well, if you give up the UK, maybe next year, maybe, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to believe that saying it because
it makes
they've
sense,
already given. We've talked about this. The only thing Will Ospreay needs as a single competitor is the G1, and then he's won everything.
Yeah.
Everything. There's nothing more for him to do as a singles competitor. So saying that makes me believe, or it's saying that makes me think like, there's no way New Japan goes, the G1's here, the IWGP title's here. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, am I upset Will Ospreay didn't win? Absolutely. Crowns up all day. But do I think he's going to get here again and win it? Yes. Absolutely. But he said it after the match with Okada, and I said it after the match with Okada. No more Will Ospreay versus Okada. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, to tell us they did it 7, that was number 8. I didn't know that.
He's 8-2 against Okada. Or sorry, he's 2-8 against Okada.
Right.
Okada has his number.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing here's a reason why I'm fine with Will Ospreay losing. And he's done this before, and people have done this against Okada before. Kevin Kelly said it on commentary. And it was during the part of the match where Ospreay hit everybody who beat Okada before's finishing move. And Kevin Kelly said this on before. He's like, Will Ospreay studied the film of everybody who's beaten Okada and no blah blah blah. I'm like, Will, you don't need to do that. That's what's gonna lose you. Okada got in your head, and that's why you lost. If you did Will Ospreay things, you crack him with a few hidden blades. You crack him with a Stormbreaker. I'm just hit him with a Paul Robinson special. Just don't. I don't want to see a Styles Clash. I don't want to see a One-Winged Angel. I don't want to see a High Fly Flow. I don't. Will, that's not you.
Here's the thing with that, Conway. It's kind of the setup, though. So when he was going through everyone that beat Okada, he goes, people have beat Okada. I've watched Okada get beat. And then he rattled off every single person who beat Okada. You know who he didn't mention? Kenny Omega. And what move didn't he hit? He used everyone's finisher. Which one couldn't he use? Which one couldn't he hit?
Did Okada get out of the one-winged angel?
Twice.
Oh, he did? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought he hit it.
He didn't kick out. He didn't land it. I'm saying he like wiggled out.
Right. Yeah.
At least once. I want to say he did. I want to say he went for it twice. There might have been a reversal one time, but he definitely wiggled out of it once.
But
but what they're doing is how I took all of that from that promo saying this is who's beat Okada, made sure he didn't mention Kenny, and then couldn't land the one wing angel. Now he's just going to say, like, now the story is he was looking ahead to Kenny Omega. That's how I took it.
Wrestle
you know
Kingdom?
I mean, he was so maybe that's what's left.
Are we getting this in the finals of the trios tournament? Because I think they're on different sides of the bracket.
Conway, fuck! I didn't even. I keep forgetting Kenny's. I just said to my buddies today, like, oh, it's gonna be Omega and Punk in Chicago, and they're like, fucking idiot. He's in the trios fucking tournament, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot he was there. You're right. That might be the first meeting.
I hope not.
You know what? They'll tag in and out.
Give me Osprey and Okada at Wrestle Kingdom for the U.S. title. Actually, no. Don't give me the U.S. title.
You just said you don't want Osprey and Okada ever again.
Or excuse me, Osprey and Omega at Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
But give the U.S. title to Dave Finley and have him face fucking ELP. I don't know. I don't care. Somebody. I don't. But.
So that's my take on everything that happened. It was not a stepping stone, but that was there. That's going to be his way out of it.
Right. But it's just like, dude, you do not need that. You're Will fucking Osprey. You're the Billy Goat. You don't need to do that.
Does New Japan and AEW need it? Does it matter? I'm just asking.
Okay. AEW needs it.
Sure, absolutely, 100% they do. Yeah.
New Japan does not.
Okay.
New Japan is not in a state where they need Kenny Omega like they did in 2016 through 2017 or 18.
Yeah.
Okay. But AEW needs Kenny Omega to be Kenny Omega, and I will go on record as saying I don't think we're getting that Kenny Omega again. We're just going to get flashes here and there because if Kenny doesn't get smart, like people in the wrestling business have had in the past, and change his style up, he's not going to survive. And he's already said one more setback and I'm done. So, like, Kenny needs to smarten up.
This is what makes me think Tony Khan. I can't believe Kenny would do this to himself. But like, is Tony rushing this guy back to like get shit done before? Okay, good.
Nope.
Because that would make me sick.
Because Tony has said multiple times, I'm not bringing Kenny back, or I'm not introducing the trios titles until Kenny can come back. So that tells me, and I said this to Teresa. I said, this tells me that Kenny said I can be good. I can be at 75-80%. I can work. I can do my stuff, and then I will get better as I get the ring rust off and whatever. And Tony said, just tell me when. So I can't see Tony Khan going, hey, I need you back because I want to do the trios titles at All Out.
Kenny's stuck working 6-man tags for the fucking next year then, or at least 6 months.
Which is what he wanted to do.
I mean, it's good. It's get him working, right? I get it, but Jesus Christ.
Because they're only, and the thing that sucks is like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole really, but the Young Bucks and Kenny said multiple times, we're only going to make trios titles for us to win them. So, like, yup, Kenny Omega's doing 6-mans for a year. You know what I mean? So, like, buckle up, folks.
Okay, fair enough.
I love AEW, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I mean, and they have been absolute dog shit lately, but I still tune in every Wednesday and fucking love it.
They're still better than the E to me. and neither is better than New Japan to me. So even with this,
okay.
even
I mean, we're gonna have to break that down at some point.
whenever you want,
I
big boy.
get what you're
Whenever
saying.
you
Listen,
want.
the E is doing really well right now. I think in the last couple weeks they have really they might have
They've
moved
stepped
past
it up.
AEW.
They've stepped it up.
Raw,
But here's the thing, and
we
I
can't. Yeah,
real quick, not
okay.
going down this rabbit hole, but can it be consistent? That's the thing. That's all the WWE needs to be, is consistent. But the second
They
it
need
feels
Brock
like
Lesnar back,
Vince is back, no, never bring Brock back, never
bro.
bring
They're
Brock back.
married. They are fucking married to him. Like
I'm
it's
so
gonna
sick of
happen
him.
every.
Don't get me wrong.
Just
I
let you know.
love this
I
new Brock.
know.
I love this
Me
new
too.
Brock. It's the best version of Brock we've ever had, but I'm so
Ever.
sick of Brock. So sick of Brock.
Rookie Brock and this Brock. Give me that all day long. Everything in between, fucking see you later. Like I'm all set. But they're married to him, man. So
I know.
Anyway, all right. So where we at?
3 up, 3 down.
Oh, geez.
Stealing this from 98.5.
Yeah, I knew
3
that.
up, 3 down.
When they bring in the big. Speaking of bringing in the big boy. All right. So do you want me to go first?
Give me your Give me your 3 up of the G1 Climax. So who had
3
the 3
up.
best G1? So who do you think? What 3 competitors had the best G1?
Okay, and this isn't strictly off matches. This is just how I saw them. Like, okay, Okada, obviously, but I feel like putting Okada in this is just like such a given because of what he did, but you can't not ignore it, right? So, Okada,
I'll tell you why you can ignore it when you're done.
Okay. Tama Tonga and oh man,
the third one's hard.
It really is, because every time I look and I'll see someone else, I'm like, oh, that person too. Shit, I'm gonna say El Phantasmo because he was everywhere and he was awesome on the bubble.
That's not a
Chase Owens. I put on the bubble, but those are my 3: Okada, Tama Tonga, and
so
El Phantasmo.
I agree with you. I agree with you on Tama Tonga. He had a star-making G1, hands down. Stand out. Give this man the MVP award. Then I have Will Osprey. Now, if you look at the semifinals and finals were amazing for him, but if you look at the block, look at his block performance. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't 8-1 or 6-1 like Okada, or even Tama Tonga.
He had 2 losses, right?
He ended up with 8 points, so yes, he had 2 losses. I want to make sure, but he, hold on, participants. Yeah, he had 8 points, so he lost. Osprey. Yeah, he lost twice. So, but regardless, going into the last day, it was out of his hands. Because if Dave Finley beats Yoshihashi, it doesn't matter what Will Osprey does.
Finley was another guy I was considering for the 3 spot too.
But
okay, I know what you're saying.
So the fact that he had the D block by itself may have been an up in and of its own, because that was probably the best block to watch every match, and it was the most competitive block. But Will Osprey, I think, had the best route to the finals because it was the toughest route to the finals. And I think that needs to be acknowledged. So for the bubble, I had Jonah, Lance Archer, Dave Finley, ELP, and Yujiro, because no one expected Yujiro to get 6 points. No one expected ELP to get 6 points. Jonah had a monstrous performance.
He did.
Lance
he did,
Archer
but I didn't like it. I felt like it was forced. I felt like it was forced.
Yeah. Like, no, I agree.
It should have went to Cobb, and Cobb's on my down. I'm going to jump ahead, but yeah.
But the thing is, though, it's unfortunate for Cobb, is that I think they're going to have him in the tag run with Great Okan, and then they need a big solo guy, so that's going to be Jonah. But my third up is going to Dave Finley, because
I love that. I
I
love it.
think he went from the open to mid card, early mid card, to the mid card and up. This guy
I
had
agree.
don't get me wrong, he dropped the ball in the end, losing to Yoshihashi,
Yeah.
but he had one of the best G1s. Like, he had a standout breakout
That
performance.
middle run was nuts. Well, actually, no, I think he got off to a quick start too. He did. Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, he, like, when you have wins, his 3 wins were against Osprey, Takagi, and Robinson.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Big wins.
impressive. Those are big wins. You know what I mean? His losses are bad. You know what I mean?
But
But his wins are big.
are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me it was Dave Finley. Especially because this was his first G1. To take second place in your block, like, that was crazy. But
Yeah, he's
like,
been kind of living in the shadow of Juice for a while now, since Finn Juice broke up.
breakout, he broke out.
He did.
Got out from under the
He
shine, especially beating Juice.
became his own. Yep.
Especially beating Juice.
Good. I'm glad you have him. Shame on me. I should have been there. Fucking ELB.
No, it was fine. Like, I don't blame you for having Okada. The reason I didn't have Okada is because, as big of a fan of Okada I am, I expected this.
That's the thing. Like, it's expected. But even for me, it was like, yikes.
Yeah. No, it was still a great. You won the G1. That is a great G1 run.
Fucking insane.
You know what I mean? Like, but it was to me.
Impressive.
It was like you bring a straight A's to your home from school, and your parents are like, "Yeah, you did you did your job. Good job."
Right.
Yeah,
that's
like,
a great.
You know what
that's
I mean?
a great way of that's a great way of explaining it. Yeah.
It's not impressive. We expected this from you.
A 4.0 GPA every year. You're right.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I love it.
So give me your downs.
3 down. First one, Tanahashi. Like, fuck. How many wins did he get?
2? No.
1? 2?
No. He got more than 1.
Did he get 1? All right.
He got 3.
Good.
He ended 3-3.
Still. All right. So Tanahashi.
So the downs were hard.
They're hard.
Tanahashi lost to Hanare. Which Hanare almost made it on my down list, by the way.
So he was kind of like, he's right in the middle.
Like,
I don't know what to think.
You open up beating Tanahashi, and then you do nothing else.
You literally like shit. Yeah.
Literally did nothing else.
I didn't get that either. Right.
Sorry. So you had Tanahashi.
That's okay. Tanahashi. I just had someone who. Cobb.
Cobb. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that's not because I don't fucking love him, and that's probably why. It's probably like it's more like a tough love
why
thing.
He's there.
Yeah, like, who did he beat? What was his big win this year?
He didn't have. I don't think he had.
He didn't have one, right? And he should have.
Yeah. He beat Yano. He beat Archer. He beat Fale. He lost
Archer,
to Lawler.
I guess.
Like, how do you lose to Lawler?
It was a disappointing. He was the most disappointing win-loss record. I didn't see it coming. I would have never bet that in a million years. Like, so Cobb at 2, and then 3. I mean, I guess to play it safe, I'd say Ishii. Maybe. I mean, I guess, like, I know he's old and shit, but like, I was expecting him to be a little more of a roadblock for people, at least, not so much win or be there at the end, but at least like maybe take somebody out, or like, I wanted to see him impact
the standing.
The standing. Yes, exactly. Like, I wanted him to be impactful, whether he was winning or losing, and he was just literally there, and I didn't like that. So I think those are my 3.
I feel that. So my 2, I'll give you my. I had Tanahashi as my second down, and it wasn't because part of it was because he lost to Hanare, but it's also that, like, you lose to Goto, fine, Kenta, fine, but you lose to Hanare, like, he should have had at least 8 wins. Like, I much rather,
and like you said,
if you're gonna go 3-3.
Day.
If you're gonna go 3-3, I'd rather you lose to Evil than Hanare. But Like, Tanahashi, and the thing was just like, the way people are talking about Okada is how I feel about Tanahashi. I don't want you anywhere near my
Yes.
main events. I don't want you anywhere near my title pictures. Like, I want you opening the shows, helping the new boys out. Like, that's what I want from Tanahashi. But like,
Right.
I had Great Okan as my first down, and it's
I just don't get him. So like, he's just
no,
nothing to me. Like,
that's fair. But like, and the thing is like, I don't like he only had 2 wins. Like, he lost to White, fine, everybody else did. He lost to Tonga, fine, everybody else did. He lost to Sonata, fine. He's higher up on the food chart, food chain than you, fine. You lost to Owens, maybe. Like, they're in a like, it just felt like they treated Khan like a tag wrestler who can't do single stuff. And I was like, he should have. To me, it was what it was disappointing, and the reason he was down for me was he should have at least gone 3-3. He should have affected the standings in some way, and he was just a nobody. You know what I mean? And that was upsetting. My bubble, though, for the down was Naido, Ishii, Hinare, and Juice Robinson. And like, real quick on Hinare, like I said, like I was just saying, you beat Tanahashi, and then you do absolutely jack shit after. Like, Forrest perform like absolute dog shit performance. Here's the
like
thing with Ishii.
Saber should have beat him.
Saber should have beat him. Here's the thing about Ishii. I agree with you that he should have been a standings effector at least, or at least just more of a force than
Something.
the standings will show. But I'm starting to come around that the Japanese perception of Ishii is a lot different than the American or at least Western perception of Ishii.
He beat
And
Tonga.
yes, that was Tonga's only loss outside of
Wow.
Okada.
Okay. All right. So, but still, go ahead.
But that was his only win.
But
right?
that was his only big one. That's his only. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his only win.
No, sorry, in Sonata.
Oh yeah, he beat Sonata. I'm sorry.
20 minutes against Tonga. Wow.
But
all right, go ahead. Sorry.
With Ishii, I'm just like, is this how am I perceiving you the right way, or is this just the Westerner in me going, every time I see you outside of Japan, you're amazing, and then when you're in Japan, you're like not treated right. He's the Lance. I shouldn't say this because it should be the opposite way, but he's the Lance Archer of New Japan.
The opposite.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
where
you're
you should be saying Lance Archer's the Ishii of AEW, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
Juice Robinson, 2 wins. Okay? Rock hard, Juice Robinson. I said to you after the press conference, I want him to get no wins. I want everybody to beat the piss out of this guy. And that almost happened. But he beat he beat Takagi. Good win. You beat Phantasmo. Fine. You lost to Yoshihashi. You lost to Yujiro. You lost to Finley. You lost to Osprey. Okay. You have this whole repackaging. You make a statement debut with Tanahashi. You win the U.S. title. You all these things. Walking into the G1. And then you shit yourself. Absolutely shit yourself. Like, how are you any different than when you were before you joined Bullet Club? You're just the same Juice Robinson.
You know what's funny?
Now.
I'm not a huge Juice guy, and I didn't think of it like that coming out of this tournament. I just figured like everything he did with the U.S. title and the Osprey thing, like that was kind of put him on the map. But you're right, he really didn't come away with anything, did he?
But the thing is,
he loses the title.
He loses the title.
Lose the title, loses
given,
Osprey.
but the thing is, he lost. He was stripped of the title. He didn't like technically
That's
lose it.
that's what I mean. Like, but yeah.
But then you could have come into the G1, beat Osprey, not got your title back, but taking your title back, so you at least have it in your hands that you're not the champion, but you have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was an undertone of the D block of who's the U.S. champion this week, because the belt block.
It's not hot potato with that U.S. title was kind of fun for the tournament.
It was it was normally I don't like that stuff, but I enjoyed it.
I kind of dug it. I enjoyed it too.
It was, but like, I thought coming out of this G1, regardless of its end result,
Juice should have came away with something.
Regardless of the result, both Juice and Finley should have been elevated from this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just like, I just can't be like, I'm just like, you should be coming out of this. All the momentum you used, or all the momentum you had coming out or coming into the G1, should have helped you get higher out of the G1.
He should have been steamrolling at some point. Yeah, I agree because he did come in like a house on fire. Yeah, like no one knew what was going on with him. He was ducking title. He was ducking shit, saying that he was sick and just holding on to the title, and then nothing. You're right. He came away with absolutely nothing from this whole tournament. Not one thing.
Right.
And they did so much with him leading up to it. And then he flatlines. I see what you're saying. It's like literally like a stock. Like he was up here. He was climbing, and then he just fucking flatlines.
Right.
And comes away with nothing. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair.
And then the other one I had on the bubble was Naido. And
a lot of wins though. He beat Kenta, he beat Hanare, he beat Saber.
But what was I saying? But here's the thing: is like, what was I saying about Naido going into this tournament?
Yeah.
What was the speculation? They kept him off They kept him off Forbidden Door so he could win the G1.
Right.
And then he makes.
He's going 22 minutes, 25 minutes, 22, 23, 17.
Hold on, real quick.
Holy shit!
I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up. He had both, when you take the match average of the blocks, the match time average of the blocks, and overall, he's the highest. He's been in the ring the longest.
With the match that went 1 minute and 58 seconds.
His average match in the block stages was 18 minutes and 49 seconds.
And one of his matches lasted under 2 minutes.
Overall, he was 19 minutes and 2 seconds.
Wow.
Osprey clocked in at 18:29 overall. Okada was 18:25 overall. Tama Tonga, the other semifinalist, was only 16:20. So that block, the C block, was like insane time wise. But
yeah.
Like, it always feels like with Naido going into the G1 and subsequently into Wrestle Kingdom season, that's when he starts ramping up. So I think if I had to pick a third, I think I'm going with Juice overall. But like,
Naido's tough to put on the down, man. Yeah, I think.
But the thing is,
I think you just hate it. I really do.
It's just off spec. It's solely off expectations.
I get it.
Like, don't get me wrong.
But he went to the Final Four.
Right. So the thing is though, is that like he was expected to win. He was probably the fan favorite to win.
So you're going in that with the expectation. That's why you're down.
Right. Exactly. But at the same time, like, if you take Naido off, that's fine. But like, it's not a down. He's not on the down list. But like, Jay White could be on that list. Zack Sabre Jr. could be on that list. On the downs, on like the just missing expectations.
Okay, I would put, if we're talking about missing expectations, I'm putting Sabre on the down list before I'm putting Naido.
That's fair.
And then losing under 2 minutes to Naido and costing him a shot at the Final Four. Ooh, that's
we almost
the
had
toughest loss
we
of the
almost had a
tournament.
I know.
Uh,
Is that
a 2 minute, bro? A 2 minute loss?
no?
That
The
cost you a
toughest
shot
loss
at the semis.
is
What is worse than that? What's worse than that?
I think it's Jay White losing to Tamatonga because.
But it's Tamatonga. Like, that's understandable.
It's Tetsuya Naido. It's Tetsuya Naido.
But he's bad. Like you said, the knees, he's getting older. Like, Sabre was on a fucking roll, man. He was.
There was more to lose for Jay White than there was for Zack Sabre Jr. Jay White is the IWGP champion. He walks in undefeated. He has the opportunity to go undefeated out of the blocks, be the only man to do that, and walk into the semifinals and face Okada, who he has a good record against and could beat again. Like, the expectation with Jay White, if you're Jay White, was I'm going undefeated through this whole G1.
Right.
And then on the last day, all you have to do is win, and you win your block. And you lose to the guy that you kicked out of the faction that you run because you were afraid of his leadership and what he was to the group. So you kick him out.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. The way you just laid that out. Wow. That's fucking unreal.
Jay White, again, losing on the last
maybe
day
shed a tear.
Is more. It's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. For a Jay White fan, it's heartbreaking.
Wow. 13 minutes, too.
I know.
Just on the 14.
It was a great match.
There's so much shit I have to go back and actually really sit down and watch. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, because I was watching, but like,
no, when I'm not bugging you to write stuff down for a podcast, it's hard to enjoy.
Like,
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, because I want to. It's like I want to note take, right? But then I'm like, I'm up, I'm down, and then I'm like, I'm notes and I'm doing this. I'm a fucking mess. So, and the plan was like, to do it like directly after. So I was like, okay, it'll still be fresh.
I've watched this G1 twice.
Have you really? Shut the fuck up. The whole thing.
Okay, so. If
Like
I'm
the
being
matches,
honest,
like the big matches.
I've watched 18, 19, 20 twice, and I've probably watched a handful of other matches twice.
I love it.
Like, I watched Jonah and Okada again. I watched Osprey Takagi again.
Jonah and Okada, let me tell you this real quick, how pissed I am. Speaking of like seeing things at the wrong time, you know how you take your finger and you drag it along the fucking to try to get past that first hour?
Yeah.
I literally stopped it on Jonah's fucking pin in Okada. I was almost down a TV set. I was like, no fucking way did that just happen. Dude, it was literally one of the worst timings of my life. I was pissed. Oof. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah, bad. I was like, did I just fucking see that?
So before we go into, I just looked at how long we've been recording, and I'm so glad we haven't been recording as long as I thought we had with my rant.
Yeah, we're out. We'll clean it up.
I'm deleting it all in post. So before we get to the schedule of what's upcoming and what's down the pipeline for New Japan, because there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
What are your closing thoughts on the G1?
Awesome. Can't wait for next year. Like, Osprey or bust 2023 G1 Climax. And if it doesn't happen, I'll probably never watch the tournament ever again. Like, I literally, you know what I mean? Now it's like, this is where I'm at. Like, it's payback time now. Like, for fans like me, like, that have just came into this with all these new people that I'm excited to see, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens next year, and I hope nothing gets fucked up and they come in full-fledged again like this with all these awesome fucking people. It's awesome. I just can't wait.
Did this do what, in my opinion, what the G1 is supposed to do and get you hyped for Wrestle Kingdom?
Absolutely. I mean, I usually watch Wrestle Kingdom as it is anyway, just off the hype of Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
But now knowing the fucking storylines heading, this is the first time I've ever been involved with knowing anything
Emotionally?
really. Like, yeah. Like, I'll know
Um,
what's going on, but I won't be watching it live time, you know?
so I'll give you my opinion in a second about Wrestle Kingdom because I want to talk very briefly about it. My
I'm
closing
bringing up the
thoughts on this
schedule anyway.
G1 was it was the best. It was the best G1 since um probably I would have to say probably 2017.
Bob,
Um, if I'm thinking right, what was 17? Was 17? No, it wasn't 17.
17 was probably leading into the first Okada or
Was
Omega,
it
or
16?
coming
No, it
off
was
the first one.
16. No, 16 because 16 the semifinals was Kenny Omega and Tetsuya Naido, and I thought
Oh, that match is fucking awesome.
that match is amazing. You have Nakajima in there, who I thought stood out.
I like that match
Goto
just as
wins
much as
the
I like any of his matches with Okada. Like
yeah,
him, that match for him and Naito, it's on the Best Bout bundle
yeah.
on the Fight TV thing I had, and I watched it one night, and I was like, "What the fuck did I just
You have
watch?" It was wild.
yeah. I think Goto making out of the A block in 2016 was crazy. He out he out he outlasted Okada, Tanahashi, Marufuji, Makabe, like Sonata. Like I think that was a very good one. Um, 15 was great. What was the one where Anderson went to the finals? 2012. I thought 2012
Oh,
was a great one. Naito in Nakamura in 11 was great. So it's been. I think this was the best one since 16. I think.
awesome! I fucking love
So
that.
that's great.
It
Real
was, it was
quick
a good
on.
one to jump in on for me. That
Oh, definitely. Real quick on Wrestle Kingdom.
mm-hmm.
Do you have any feelings to it going back to one night?
I'm always a fan of one night, like in anything. You know what I mean? Like I almost hate that baseball does 7 games of the World Series. Like it should be one and done. Everything should be one and done in my book. Like I don't love 2 nights. I don't love that WWE's doing it. I don't love that Wrestle Kingdom's doing it. Give me a one night event because that is a big time fucking fail. The minute you split it up into 2, it's automatically like almost like the first night doesn't mean as much. Well, one of these nights aren't going to mean as much, you know. But that could just be because I'm wicked old school. But I don't love the 2 nights at all for
So
either promotion.
so I wrote an article about this earlier this year about my feelings on it. Go read it. It's on the Jobber Knocker blogger page.
Okay.
Um, and I was torn. Uh,
It's awesome
so
because as a wrestling fan, we always want more wrestling, right? So like the idea of 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom is great. It's like, wow, we get 2 nights of fucking badass Japanese wrestling. Awesome.
but the
But
thing
it
is
doesn't
like
mean as it takes away from the meaning, I think, for me.
so the thing like just to your point about the taking away, New Japan counteracted that by having essentially a mini tournament without calling it that
Mm-hmm.
because in the past they would have two people face off. They would have the IWGP title match and then a subsequent match on the card, and the winners of those would face off in the main event of Wrestle
Right.
Kingdom Night 2. So like
That's
they
true
kind
too.
of
Yeah. So
made
there's
both nights important.
implications of night one
Right.
going into night 2.
But
Right.
what
That makes sense too.
and I think you can make the case that WWE has suffered from this, but I think they suffered from it a lot less than New Japan did. What made Wrestle Kingdom so great, to me at least, was New Japan got everybody on the card, but they trimmed the fat enough where after probably the third, fourth match, maybe, you had these incredible singles and tags that meant every match, whether it was a special singles match or a
Mm-hmm.
tag match with the title or a singles match with the title, every match went out there to outdo the next one. You know what I mean? And like
Mm-hmm.
to me, having 2 night Wrestle Kingdom made it feel like every other special that New Japan puts out. It
Gotcha.
it took away what New Japan, or it took away what Wrestle Kingdom was. It took away that Wrestle Kingdom is going to be the best bell to bell pay-per-view of the year, whether you like it or not, or you think so or not. And
yeah, undisputable, right?
And like, especially that second half of the card, when you come back from intermission, like, it's just
It redlines,
banger
right? It's
after banger
just,
after
yeah,
banger after banger.
it's
And like,
fucking wild.
especially like when you watch like if you watch the early ones, it's like every match after a certain point can main event a show at any point of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fifth match on a Wrestle Kingdom card, and you're like, this is insane. Like,
Yeah,
they're like, one of the best trilogies in wrestling was Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki, and they didn't main event a single Wrestle Kingdom, and those matches were absolutely bonkers.
right.
So I hope that Wrestle Kingdom going back to one night brings that feeling back of, we're gonna put our best card out there,
Wait, I'm
and
sorry.
this
Is it
is
one
our
night this year?
yes. They
Oh,
announced
wow.
they
Okay.
announced that it's going back to one night.
Okay. Did they do that at the end of this tournament? Did I miss that, or
Yeah,
is that? Oh, wow.
it was during the finals. It was some
Wow.
point during
Yeah,
the
I
final
missed it.
show they announced it.
Cool.
So it's just like, I'm hoping now they just bring back that feeling of, this is going to be the best card you'll see this year, whether
Absolutely.
you like it or not.
Love it.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick. Let's talk about what's coming up.
Okay. Yeah, I get my schedule up here.
So we are off. Not us, not you and I. New Japan. They have High Alert, which is their New Japan Strong stuff. They have that
Yeah. So
going
what is
on
that?
the 27th,
It's
which is
in the
Saturday.
States. It's in North. It's going on in North
Yeah, it's in
Carolina.
North Carolina. The thing is, it's just a taping, I think. I don't know.
It's what it looked. It looks
Three
like it.
matches. There's only 3 matches. So
It's so
like,
strange the way they do shit.
I'm like, it's like, whatever. Then there's the New Japan Strong tapings for Fighting Spirit Unleashed on August 21st. That is headlined by, I don't even know, but there's like an 8-man tag on there. You have, I'm trying to see if anything stands out. Alan Angels versus Tai Chi Shimori. You have the Strong Tag Team Championships being defended. You have Aussie Open, the champions, taking on Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs.
There's people in here that don't even have
Like,
pictures with their fucking names.
well, okay, so that's because they haven't worked for New Japan yet. That's the
Okay.
only reason. And for whatever
Oh,
reason,
Tyler Ross. Why do I know that name?
I forget. But like, for some
Okay,
reason,
doesn't
New
matter.
Japan just doesn't want to like put
I see what you're
photos
saying.
in
Yeah,
there. They
it's so
want
strange.
to take the photos themselves. I don't even know. It's so bizarre to me.
Okay, so okay.
So, New Japan in Japan kicks back up Friday, September 2nd. They start their Burning Spirit tour.
Now, is
That's
this what we
leading.
thought was going to be the tag tournament, and it's
Yeah,
not?
this is what I thought was going to be the World Tag League.
And it's not, right?
And it's not.
because
No.
they just announced, like, there was nothing up for it maybe a couple days ago. So
Yeah, they. So that's
so it's
I've
just a
said
show.
this to you before. I said this to you before.
Yeah,
New Japan just unloads a tour on like their.
does things.
They just announce like certain matches. Like, they don't even well, let me rephrase that. They announce the full cards for the whole tour, and then only like really flaunt. They only make graphics for like the important ones. So like, there's
Though, like,
a ton of,
look at the
like,
6-man tag
what for what?
for the
Which
first
show?
night of this Burning Spirit.
The
Burning
September
Spirit, the
2nd?
first one. Yeah,
Yano
they just
Tanahashi
literally
Okada.
they just throw a bunch of shit in the pot.
Yeah. So, but
Yano, Tanahashi, and Okada versus Bad Dude Tito, Shane Haste, and Jonah. Why would I want to fucking watch that? Like what?
okay. So a few things. One, the New Japan fans are gonna eat it up. They're eating
Okay,
up Jonah like it's free candy on Halloween.
I get
But the
that.
thing is like, don't. I'm telling you right now. I was telling you this when we were first talking about the G1. Don't go through the rest of the cards. They're all the same. They're all the same in different order. Like they're pairing Okada with Jonah. Dom, do you want to know how many of this whole tour we can actually watch? I'm not fucking with you right now. Do you
So
want
is
to
this
know
just
how
like a
many?
house show? Is just like a house show loop? That
Yeah,
is that what Burning Spirit is? Like
it's a
with
house
this
show.
equivalent of WWE doing a house show loop.
Think of it like this. It's a Monday Night Raw into a house show loop. Hold on, I wrote this down because there's only 3 shows that they say are showing up on New Japan World. So, it's a Raw on the 2nd, right? Leading into a
Gotcha.
SmackDown
I
on
see
the
what you're saying.
5th,
Okay,
and then it's an immediately into a pay-per-view. Those are
gotcha.
but the rest are just house shows. You know what
I
I
see
mean?
what you're
And
saying.
it's the
Yeah.
same cards, or it's the same people, it's the same it's they're just
So is there no tag team tournament happening?
I don't know. I pray to God
Like,
there is, because the World
I
Tag
was,
League is so good to
I was,
watch.
I literally kept checking this because when shit wasn't coming up, I'm like, this isn't gonna be a fucking tag tournament, and I'm gonna be devastated.
So, but I will say, as much as I again said there are this is a tag team loop, or this is a house show loop.
Yeah.
On the 25th is actually a pretty good card. On that show, we'll have so this is the card for the 25th. I'm gonna just
Okay.
skip to where actually I'll just
I
read it
see.
to you.
Okay, I see how it goes.
So we got
Yeah.
it opens up with Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo taking on Hakaleo, Kenta, and El Phantasmo. Then we go into Yano versus Doc Gallows, which is going to be fun to watch. We have Great
Yeah. Well,
Okan
yeah,
and
we'll
Jeff
be.
Cobb taking on Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. We have Sonata and Tetsuya Naito taking on the dangerous techers of
Okay.
Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr.
That's gonna be fucking awesome.
Then we have uh, we have Hanma, Makabe, and Okada taking on Bad Dude Tito, Shane Haste, and Jonah. We have a tag match that's going to rule of Kushida and Tamatonga taking on Tai Chi, Ishimori, and
Oh
Jay
shit.
White.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Then, in their first defense since winning the titles, uh, Francesco Akira and TJP defend their IWGP Junior Tag Team titles against Master Wato and Risuke Taguchi. Then we have a Never Openweight Championship match with Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Carl Anderson.
Love it.
And then the main event, we have David Finley challenging Will Osprey for the United States Heavyweight Championship. And that's going
Not
to
a
be a
bad card.
banger, and
That's not a
I'm
bad
kind of
card.
hoping Dave Finley wins there.
I'm thinking he might too.
So here's the other thing coming out of Burning Spirits.
So it's a Sunday.
We have a new member of the United Empire. I think it's a manager who's going to be
Oh, that's right. Osprey
in
said
the
that. Yeah.
I think he's going to be a manager who's like the Gato or Jado or J excuse me, Jado or Gato. So you know how like Gato comes out with Gato comes out with Jay White and he manages them, and
Mm-hmm.
occasionally they'll do tag matches.
Yeah.
That's what Gideon Gray I think is going to be for the United Empire.
Who?
Exactly. Um I so they announced this guy. The
Fucking
announcement's
dickhead.
made. Dude, I'm not even lying. I had no clue who this guy was until I looked him up. He's a wrestling manager. He's a wrestling manager. He wrestles. He's also a manager, and he's big in the UK. Like he's been fairly popular in the UK, and if you read all the tweets from people in the United Empire, they're playing it up like this is like finally we can talk about Gideon Gray,
Okay.
because like
God.
TJP,
Gideon.
yeah, You have to actually type in Lord Gideon Gray wrestling, or you're gonna get nothing but Zootopia. I'm not even joking, because the was it a fox? Yeah, he was a fox. The fox from Judy's Childhood in Zootopia is called Gideon Gray.
Yeah, there's something else coming. Oh, okay. I've been seeing this guy's picture everywhere, and now I know why.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So he's going to be on this tour. He's going to be introduced with the United Empire, so that's fine.
Okay,
So
cool. Love it.
so 9:25 we have Burning Spirits,
You just got the follow
and
on Twitter.
then
That's good.
that goes into Royal Quest nights 1 and 2, which New Japan goes back over to the UK, and
October 1st, October 2nd.
that has major implications.
No schedule
for
though.
No
Just
matches
tickets.
yet.
Just tickets.
Yeah, that has major implications that we'll get to in a little bit.
Royal Quest does.
Yes. After Royal Quest, we have Declaration of Power on October 10th. Only 2 matches announced for that, and they're bangers. It's Kazuchika Okada versus Jonah, and then Tama Tonga challenges Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So those are coming down the pipeline, and those are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, like Jonah's going to go 60 fucking minutes with Okada. Get the fuck out of here. Why even put that up there? Oh. Conway? I think we lost Conway.
I don't know what I hit.
Sorry, but don't worry about it. I went to the next thing for Rumble on 44th Street, but there was no schedule. There's no match lineup.
Yeah,
so.
if it's America stuff, they don't really talk about it.
It's not real.
But so are they? It's not that they don't talk about it, they just know that they need to announce it. They can't do what they do in Japan and just go throw up 20 cards on you. You know what I mean? They can't do that in America because they won't get the same thing.
Okay.
But let's close this out with some big news that New Japan released today. They talked about it briefly earlier in the year, but they had a press conference today, and it was huge. If you look at the title, it says Stardom and Royal Quest. Stardom is an all-females promotion in Japan. It is the top all-female promotion in Japan. It is owned by Bushi. I think, yeah. So New Japan had bought in Stardom, I think in 2020. We are getting the first time in New Japan history mixed tag matches.
So there isn't going to be any one-on-one female. It's all going to be mixed. Is that how they're doing it?
So,
because that's what the card looked like on Twitter, but it was really tough to tell.
So, New Japan announced 3 mixed tag matches.
I saw that.
They also announced an IWGP Women's Championship.
Okay, so there would be one-on-one show.
So, I have a few questions, but before we get to those, the way it's going to work is the first joint event is going to be on November 20th for New Japan and Stardom. Those are where those mixed tag matches will take place. The quarterfinals for the women's title, the first night takes place on 10/2, which is the second night of Royal Quest. Okay. The second quarterfinals take place on 10/22 at a Stardom show. Excuse me. The semifinals take place on 10/23, also at a Stardom show. The finals will take place at the Stardom New Japan joint show on 11/20. And the first title defense for this title will be on Wrestle Kingdom.
Wow.
So for the tag matches, we have Tom Lawler and Sayuri.
Where are you
I'm
getting this
totally.
from? That's good. Are you on their website, on their Twitter?
Yeah, if you're on their website and you go to news, it's the first thing.
All right.
It's like the first 3 articles there. Um, and Julia and those two will take on Julia and Zack Sabre Jr. And then we have Tanahashi and Udemy Shishida. I'm so bad with Japan names. Taking on Hiroki Goto and Micah. That's it, Micah. And then we have Kanemaru and Tai Chi teaming up with Cosmic Angels, Natsupoi and Tam Nakano, taking on Doki, El Desperado, and their tag partners Momo Watanabe and Starlight
Jesus.
Kid.
Nice
So,
job, kid.
I am very excited, and I was always, as a New Japan fan, it was always sometimes a tough conversation when I'm talking about New Japan and I'm talking about all these people, and then somebody goes, "Well, what have they got for women?" And now I have to explain that they don't have women. There's women only promotions, and try to, and this is me kind of being in my own head about it, making it not sound like
Sexist.
yeah, exactly. We're like,
Yeah, but that's
you
not. I
guys
mean,
can't
it's
be in
yeah.
the same building as, you know what I
But
mean?
people have to realize that we're talking about it, not like this is Japan. Like this
Right,
is
right.
different
But
rules
this is,
apply. Like you
but
can't that people can't think like that.
but there's also, it also shows it to me. It also shows how, like, Stardom, Ice Ribbon, I'm missing like 1 or 2 others. They make money. Like, they are successful companies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there are little to none all-female wrestling promotions in America.
Right.
Whether that's because nobody wants to go see them, the talent's not there, or too widespread, or whatever the reason is, there's little to none of that. The only one I knew of was Shine, and I don't even know if they are Shimmer. I'm sorry, Shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Shimmer might have turned into Shine. I don't know, but that no longer exists. I don't believe, or at least I don't see it anymore. So the fact that there are multiple in Japan shows you the
That's a
pool of
good.
talent there is and
Right.
how much there is a demand for it. You know what I mean? The To me, it's always been the women of Japan wrestling don't need to piggyback or be given a spot on a big company. You know what I mean? The women of Stardom, and the Stardom's only 11 years old, earned a
Only.
spot.
I mean, that's a lot. 11 years is a lot for a women's promotion.
It is, but they've earned multiple spots on Wrestle Kingdom the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're now, because of how they did in front of that crowd and how they do in front of their own fans and the presence they've built in Japan, they're now like part of the biggest wrestling company in Japan and one of the top 5 in the world. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but I mean, that comes with, I have questions. I've wrote down 4 questions. And Dom, I just want like speculation from you,
Sure.
honestly. Um the first one being, how is the belt going to be shown? Like, or where will it be mainly shown? Is it going to jump back between New Japan shows and Stardom shows? Which one gets priority? You know what I mean? Like, where, you know what I'm saying?
Well, there's one championship, right? It's gonna be a Stardom championship.
So that question actually goes into my second question. Stardom has 7 belts.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
So so is this an 8th belt for Stardom, or is this a new belt for New Japan? And then,
Where is the belt being? Is it a tournament? What's
so that's the thing, is that the tournament is taking place on New Japan shows and Stardom shows.
okay?
So the first defense is going to be on a New Japan show, but where's the
But
second?
what's the name of the actual title?
The IWGP Women's Championship.
Okay, yeah, so it's New Japan's.
Okay, right. That's what I assumed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would say if it says IWGP on it, then the New Japan has control of where they're going to show it, and it's going to be mainly their.
So that
stuff.
So that kind of line of questioning brought me to another one. How long till, if ever, we get a merge of the IWGP Women's title and the World of Stardom Championship? Because that's their like big belt.
New Japan just bought Stardom
like 2 years ago.
Still their own.
They're still running. They're running as they are. New Japan went, we're going to buy you, but
not anytime soon. A minimum of 5 years before they think of putting those two titles together. Yeah, if it even happens. And especially if New Japan's creating their own belt right now for it, and Stardom already has a world title belt, and what are you going to do? You're going to merge them in a year? You're going to make a title just to merge two titles? When you already own the company, it's not like it's not your belt. You own the fucking
but that's the thing is like, well, that's my point is like, okay, how long do you hold off the belts? Because eventually, and it's going to start right from the jump.
Eventually, one's going to be more.
Who's the better champion? The IWGP Women's Champion or the top, whoever has the top belt in Stardom? You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be a discussion, and then we're going to have a clash a few times. But is there ever going to be a merger? Are they ever going to do title for title? Like,
and you said Stardom's been around for 11 years, right?
Yes.
So even though IWGP putting their stamp on a women's title, it gives it prestige immediately, but people have to win it and hold it. You have to create the letters alone. You have to create the prestige. Like the letters alone are it's a good building point, but I wouldn't care about this title until it's been held by certain people. I guess. So until you get to that point with that title,
I will say I'm glad they did Stardom and not making a new company.
Right. Yes. Yeah, keep everything the same. Right.
Right. So so that's on the pipeline, and that's very exciting. I'm so glad they're doing this because it feels like it's about time. And I know there was a lot of positives coming out of Japan for them with this. So I'm glad New Japan is incorporating Stardom, but not taking over Stardom, or at least not giving the feeling that they're taking over Stardom.
Keeping it its own entity.
Right, exactly. So yeah, we've got a new title coming down the line for New Japan.
Right.
We're into Wrestle Kingdom season now. We've got our G1 champion in Kazuchi Okada, and we've got a lot coming down the pipeline for New Japan talent in shows. It's getting hot, Dom, and
the summer's over. It's getting hot.
It's getting hot.
So for the next episode, since we're kind of in a little bit of a lull, what are you thinking? Like as for a topic.
So that's the thing is that we don't have another show till September 2nd, which is next Friday. So, I mean, but I don't think we don't have our first quote unquote meaningful show till the 25th.
That's what I'm saying. So, there's really not going to be a lot of meat on the bone for what's happening on September 2nd. It doesn't look like.
Dom, if you want to pick a topic and we can do an episode on it. If you want to pick a show to watch, I'll let you pick, Dom. The next episode is all your choice, all right? But before we get to that episode, Dom.
Okay, yeah.
You gotta say goodbye to the good people that are listening and watching.
Okay. Goodbye, good people.
Oh my god. Bye. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
That's it.
We got some great work coming down. We're only getting started. we're gonna take it. We're not taking a break. Dom and I are not taking a break.
No.
New Japan
No.
might be, but we're not.
I
But we're
love it.
ramping up into Wrestle Kingdom season, people. We're
Good.
getting going good. All right, enjoy your night, everybody. Dom, I'll talk to you later.
All right, kid.